I just analyzed 11,261 intake calls for a criminal defense firm using Google Sheets and Claude AI, discovering massive intake calls that were costing this firm sign cases every single week. I'm talking missed calls, voicemail drop-offs, and callers who were almost ready to hire but didn't. And that's the beauty of using AI for this analysis. We were able to crunch 18 months of data very quickly and identify gaps that were holding this firm back. In this video, I'm going to give you everything that you need to plug these intake gaps using AI with an analysis and prompts that you can run in just 10 minutes so you can stop bleeding cases. Okay, so the first step of all this is we need to build the data set. If AI is going to crunch the data and analyze the numbers, then it needs something to work with. We need to build a data set that contains every single call that your front desk receives. And not only that, there are a couple of fields that we specifically need to include so that the analysis becomes something that is highly useful and highly mapped to revenue, and levers that map to revenue so that when we fix these levers, it's going to have a high impact on your firm. The first one of those is the landing page. AI needs to know which landing pages these leads are coming from, and that way it can start to sort through which sources produce the best leads and which leads are coming from which practice area. So I have in this Google Sheet here, landing page mapped out so it knows where it's coming from. Also last name, first name, all of this stuff that you need to have for your own records. On top of that, here's another thing that's really important, which is the transcript. We use a call tracking service called WhatConverts, and the cool thing about that is they provide a call transcript for each call. That goes into our lead sheet here. So why do you need the transcript? AI can read every single word that has gone on in each transcript and at scale can start to analyze patterns between words that are being said, things that are being missed, and gaps that your front desk is maybe even unaware of that is costing you leads and signed cases. It's not as good as a human going through and listening to every single call, but this is valuable and vital context, and it can literally read every single word that has gone through the front desk's mouth and every single prospect over however long you feed this in. And that's extremely powerful for what we're doing here. The next bit of this is we need to automate this. We don't want to have to manually add every single lead that comes into this sheet. So over time, once we set this up once, from then on, every single lead and call that comes in is going to be tracked into here. So we use, as I said, WhatConverts and then Zapier. And what Zapier can do is this really simple automation. So anytime a new lead comes through our call tracking software, it's passed into this Google Sheet as a row, right? And you can see these two fields that I mentioned, landing page and transcript. That's really important for this. And those are the two things you for sure need. And then here we have these two rows, so summary and practice area. So in summary, you can see I'm already, before I even pass it off to Claude, in Google Sheets itself, I'm using AI to analyze the transcript of the call interaction. And here's the full prompt: analyze the transcript of the call interaction. If they leave a message, if the recipient does not appear at least 5 times in the conversation, set the summary as missed call. Otherwise, provide a detailed summary. So it's going to understand what is happening in each call and give me a summary. And then here we want to know, simply we're asking the AI to analyze the transcript to understand which practice area that they belong to, because they have criminal defense, DWI, traffic tickets, and now you can start to see this big picture, this bird's eye view of where the leads are coming from, which sources, and how they're communicating and what's going on when those leads actually arrive at the firm. After you've done that, you can go ahead and download this sheet, and you can see here I'm already using AI, but I'm then going to feed this into Claude for the final step. And what you want to do is track 30 to 90 days of data, minimum 30. 90 is great for spotting big patterns. And then just simply on that Google Sheet, click File, Download as a CSV. Then I'm going to take this over to Claude and use one simple prompt to analyze this mass of data to show which gaps we can fix now. Okay, so this is the prompt that we're going to put into Claude. You're an intake specialist full transcript, short summary. And what I did with this prompt was make sure that we get insight into the 3 biggest issues that I've seen repeating across firms. So leak 1, missed calls, voicemail drop-offs, and lost closes. Why? Because you don't want to overwhelm people with too much information and too many things to fix all in one glance. So I've narrowed the scope into the 3 main levers that are directly tied to revenue and the easiest things to fix. That was done on purpose. For each leak, return total count, calls per month, and average. So basically all you need to do is copy this. If you know what your average case value is, and by the way, you should, average sign case value, I've used 1500, but if yours is larger, replace it with whatever it is and you're gonna get a better output. So I'm gonna copy that, put that into Claude Cowork and attach that CSV that I just downloaded right here. Hit go and it's gonna run. About 20 minutes later, here's one I prepared earlier, but about 20 minutes later, it's gonna give you this report. I'm gonna go through this real quick now. And by the way, the leak summary is here and you can see total at risk is 1.4 million over a 18-month period. And the leak surface is 5,674. So that's half of all their calls. This is an extreme case, by the way. I don't expect it to be this drastic for every firm. And leak 1 is missed calls. Leak 2 is the voicemail drop-offs. These are things that can be easily fixed with automation. But leak 3 is more of an intake issue. So this is going to be lost closes, where it's almost a sale, a legitimate legal matter for something you handle, but the ball was dropped. So this is something that is a sales issue where you can prompt this chat further to identify things in your sales process that you need to fix quickly and how to fix your sales process. I'm going to show you how to do that in a different video. And then down here, we have a 5-step Monday action plan. So as I said, the first 2 can be fixed with automation, but the close script and leak 3 is something you need to fix with sales training. Broad picture view, you can see how drastic this is. The missed call impact alone is $200,000. The voicemail drop-offs is another $148,000, but the biggest one is lost closes. If you just closed more of the people you almost have over the line, that is a massive opportunity to increase the amount of sales that your firm makes. So obviously this was a quick and dirty automation, a quick and dirty view into the intake of this one particular firm. We can get a lot more complicated and a lot more nuanced with this, but I found that when you pitch AI and pitch automation and intake analysis using AI, because it's so new, firms can get overwhelmed and think there's a million things to fix. That's why I kept it really high level. But in the next couple of videos, I'm going to use a couple of more sophisticated prompts and ways that we can really dig a little bit more into the data and uncover some more insight into call quality and how you can stop the leaks and stop bleeding cases in ways that are a little bit more complicated to implement. But even if you just implement what is in this video right here and run that analysis, you're already going to have more insight into your intake than you could have otherwise. And it's a great time to be alive because we can now analyze these massive data sets really fast and move the needle quickly. So watch the next video if you want to dive a bit more into this.